Hello, today I'm going to talk with you about something really important that I think is often very much misunderstood. And if you understand this when you're working with your architect for your home redesign, you're going to find that you're going to get a much better result. You're going to be much happier with the process. You're going to be much happier with the final outcome, and everything is going to be a lot easier for you. So it's very difficult at times to delegate things to other people. So I very much understand this. I have perfectionist tendencies, and that means that it can be really hard to delegate tasks over to other people and get them to do them in place of me. And you may have experienced this yourself, where you might just think, oh, I'm just best off doing it myself, because do it yourself, it's done right. And in some cases that may be true, but if you actually don't have the skills and the knowledge and the experience that doing that task requires, like for example extracting a tooth that a dentist has the experience of, or repairing a broken bone, or redesigning a home, a building with all the complexity that goes into that, you may be better off delegating your dental work to a dentist, or your medical work to a doctor, or your building design work to an architect. This is the way you're going to get the best result. And so that delegation requires some processes. It requires some effort from you in order to delegate that work in a way that you are going to get out of it what you want, what you're expecting, what you're hoping. And this is where it can get tricky. It's difficult. It's difficult managing people. Anyone who works in a management position where you are managing other people and delegating and overseeing their KPIs and what they've produced for you and the business, if you're in that sort of position, you will know how difficult it can be to manage other people, and also to manage your own expectations of those other people. These are all tricky things to deal with, but they're essential to do in order for you to work well with your architect and to get out of that what you want. So this is how to do it. The most important thing to do is to be really open and clear in your communication about what it is that you want, what the end result needs to be for you, what you need and what you desire. That in a really nutshell, that's it. Communicate your needs and communicate your desires. Communicate what it is that you want to get out of your project. What's the end result that you want? And when you have that clearly communicated, then allow your architect to then ask questions and give responses to those questions, and allow your architect to interpret what it is that you have communicated and interpret that into space. Because what I've seen so many times, I see this on forums a lot, so people post floor plans that an architect has created for them, and they're not sure about them, they don't know, it doesn't seem right to them. What I've found when I've seen what they're commenting, and other people have commented back to them, the advice that they've been getting, the difficulty they've had is that they've not clearly communicated what they really want to their architect. And then that situation, rather than posting on a forum for complete strangers who haven't even got any information that they need to have to be able to design the space, rather than do that, they would be much better off to go back to the architect and communicate clearly what it is that they want. This, I know, it can be easier said than done. It can be difficult if you've never been involved in a construction project for a building design project before, it can be difficult to know what it is important to communicate. What is it that your architect needs to know? So your architect needs to know certain things that are really important. For example, how many people are you in each space of your home? What is it that you're wanting to do in those spaces? What equipment or furniture do you need in those spaces to be able to do what you want to do with the number of people that you want to be doing that with? Those are really the key things to know. And then there are other things like, how do you want to feel in that space? What preferences do you have for sort of perhaps daylight quality, sunlight, things like that, views, warmth, thermal comfort, all these different qualities of the space. And then stylistic preferences, material preferences, you know, if you like tall spaces, if you like cozier, lower ceiling types of spaces, all these different preferences you may have. So communicating clearly the sorts of things that you love, the sorts of things that you prefer, the sorts of things that you need. These are the things that you need to communicate to your architect in order for your architect to be able to design for you. Now, another thing that I find clients of mine have tried to do at certain points is to give me sketch designs of what they think is the solution. And unfortunately, these sketch designs they don't communicate any of that information to me because they don't have the skill and the expertise to translate what they need and want into a spatial solution. And so just showing me a spatial solution does not show me what it is that they want from the project, because there is a mismatch there. I quite often see quite poorly designed spaces that do not work and will not deliver the needs and the desires of the people who have drawn those sketch plans, but they are trying to use those sketch plans as a way of communicating to me, but that doesn't work because there's a mismatch between what they actually want and need and what those sketch plans show. If you do not have that skill and experience and ability, that sensitivity to translate from a written kind of language of needs and wants that can be set down in writing in terms of who is there, you know, what you're doing, how much space you need, and all those things that I mentioned before. If you don't have the skill and ability to interpret that into a space, which architects train and practice for a long time, like years, typically it's about 8 years to fully qualify as an architect. And so all of that time is spent practicing that process of going from a written design brief or a vision for that space, the needs, all the requirements for that space in written format, and going from that communicated requirements into a design solution for a space. That's where architects' expertise lies. And if you don't have that expertise, that sensitivity and that experience in doing that, it's not that easy to do, basically. It's done badly a lot, all the time, in fact, and I can see many examples of it all the time. And I'm making this video to help you avoid that, because you know, you just don't need to experience poorly designed space. And the way that you don't experience poorly designed space is if you are working with an architect, if you've chosen to work with an architect, let them design the space for you. Give them the information they need to understand what you require from that space, and then to translate that into space for you. That is the way that you are going to get the best result from your project, your home design. And that is the way you're going to be able to successfully work with your architect to get the home that you really love, the home that makes your heart sing, the home that supports you in living your version of your best life. I hope this has been helpful. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.